once again. I had Chad on my show at the Combine, not this past year, but the prior year, and I asked him about coaching, and I pulled the clip just as a reminder for why Chad has no intention anytime soon of coaching in the NFL or with the Jets for that matter. This was Chad on the show about a year and a half ago.
For you, we were talking off air before we started this. You're coaching now. You're coaching your son in high school. I can't tell you the amount of times people on my chat, people have called into the show, say, what about Chad Pennington? Bring him in as a coach on the staff.
Right.
One of your teammates now is the head coach of the Jets. Have you ever given NFL coaching any thought? Is that something you'd be interested in?
Not really, because with my boys, I'm really enjoying coaching my boys and watching them grow up. I was able to coach Cole all the way through his high school career. Now he's at Gardner Webb. And then now Luke is just finishing his senior year. He's going to go to the University of Dayton. We're really excited about that. We just won the 1A Class A state championship in Kentucky this year. That was really special. And my sophomore Gage, he was on that team too. So I grew up on a Friday night bus. I remember the impact that my dad had on his players. I'm trying to emulate that. I really enjoy that level, and I enjoy it mostly because I'm able to be with my boys and watch them grow up and coach them and their buddies in the greatest game ever, which is the game of football. And I love using the game of football to help develop young men. I think there's so many great life skills and life lessons that they can learn within our game, and learning those core values is really important for them being successful later on.
I just hope one day, you change your mind. You're like, you know what?
He hasn't changed his mind yet, but I think every Jet fan, especially one that is around the age that Matt and I are, would love to see Chad part of this coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, just one of the higher football IQs from the quarterback position that I think we've seen, at least for our generation, right? Not old enough to remember, Ken O'Brien or obviously Joe Namath, but set the record for completion percentage in the NFL a couple of times, right? That's always high completion percentages, smart football. The arm just unfortunately went after all the injuries, but I think he would make a great quarterback coach if he ever wanted to get into the NFL.
Amen. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Raffle at the end of the show. If we get 25 names on the wheel for a signed Broadway Joe Namath football. That's right. Your chance to win a signed ball by arguably the greatest Jet to ever live. Cisco Lopez is making it easier for us to get to the Wheel of Champions on the show today. He is the first to enter this morning on the show. He gifted 10 channel memberships. Hit it.
Sometime I do super chat. Sometime I do give membership. But all the time, I love the Jake Asman show. They call me Cisco Lopez.
Paul in Florida. There's only one nation. Sean Mafia, David Hall Jr., Mike Wright, DG, Wild One Production, Juan Cracha, Anthony G, Luiso 717, Chris Ryan, all receiving a gifted membership there from the Cisco Lopez, which means we are just 15 away from the Wheel of Champions. We're a little less now. Nate says, sup, O'Leary. Nate _ ESQ in the raffle for 4. Matt, since this is directed at you, your thoughts on sup, O'Leary from Nate.
Sup, Nate. Thanks for supporting the show. Love it.
Cashmere Black says, can Will Levis be an option if Geno's suspended? I think Will Levis might be an option now if the Titans want to move on from him. I'd look at Andy Dalton possibly with the Eagles. They got 4 quarterbacks there. There's a Frank Reich connection. If Geno's actually suspended, if we go down this path, I think you're calling the Cardinals about Brissett. I think you're calling the Raiders about Cousins. Like, they need a legit starter if Geno Smith is actually going to miss games.
You took the words out of my mouth with Andy Dalton. I think that makes, to me, a little bit more sense than Will Levis. I just think the variance is too high with Will Levis, and we don't really know what he is. And Andy Dalton's 39 years old, or will turn 39 during the season, but I think he's come in and played like halfway decent football recently when he's had to spot start for, Bryce Young over the last couple of years. It's not pretty. There aren't pretty options in July for or late June for quarterbacks, but I think that would probably be the best option for the Jets to come in and get some normal semblance of quarterback play.
The other super chat from Cashmere says, I also think the Jets should inquire about Davis Mills. I think the Jets already did, The asking price on Mills is high. The Texans last year don't make the playoffs when CJ Stroud had concussions without Davis Mills playing as well as he did. I think they went 3-0 in the games he started. So I don't think you're just going to be able to get Davis Mills unless you're giving up something notable. And I don't think the Jets are going to do that. So I'd be surprised if Davis Mills became an option.
Yeah, like taking out what it would take to get him, I agree with this comment. I think Davis Mills would be a good stopgap option for the Jets, but for Houston, the asking price is going to be high, and they don't really know what they're doing right now with CJ Stroud. He looked absolutely terrible the last time we saw him in the playoffs. So, and he did miss some games. And Davis Mills came in, was 3-0 at 5 touchdowns to 1 pick, and played pretty good football. So I think they're going to want to keep him around. I don't know if they're really looking to move off of that.
We were talking about Frank Reich and obviously reacting to Chad's comments. I thought this was notable from Rich Cimini. We asked him for some of his big takeaways from minicamp last week, and here's Rich talking about Frank Reich. I mean, in terms of what else stood out at minicamp, Rich, you were there for the first 2 days as we recorded this Wednesday afternoon. What are some of the highlights? What are some of your takeaways from watching the Jets out there at One Jets Drive?
Yeah, I'm right off the practice field into the press conferences and right here for Jets Collective. So it's been boom, boom, boom. And so the first couple of days, I think today, the takeaway, I mean, we talked about Geno briefly at the top. He's had a good mini camp. I think the biggest takeaway for me is something Frank Reich said today. Now, Frank Reich spoke to the media for the first time since I think it was a couple of months, really. So we haven't had him that much. And I asked him directly about Geno, and he was effusive in his praise for Geno. He goes, "I've been so impressed with Geno. I can't stress that enough." He said he's got an elite football mind, and he went on and on just about his leadership and said he's still throwing the ball really well. He said, and for an older type player, he's 36, showing good mobility. He said Geno was running against Kate Klubnik in some of the wind sprints, and he said was keeping up with Klubnik, a guy 14 years his junior.
So, I mean, look, Frank Reich's been there, done that. That has to matter, at least for something, with this Jet team, given where they are offensively.
Yeah, and like the bar is really, really low. So what I'm about to say is, I think just about any other fan of a normal football team would not sign up for this. But can you get like the 22nd best quarterback play from Geno Smith and be like the 18th best offense in the NFL? I think we as Jet fans, after watching a bottom 5 offense for the last 10 years, would all sign up for that and be, again, a somewhat normal football team, maybe?
Be normal. That is the barometer. Be normal. Since everyone seems to like hearing from Chad Pennington, how about Chad talking about the current quarterback for the New York Jets? Here's more of Chad's conversation on the Jets official podcast, Chad on Geno.
Best about Geno's game as far as his physical skill set, what he brings to the table.
He's always been fundamentally sound. Always can operate in the pocket, regardless of what we think I hate the word dual threat. I think that's stupid for any quarterback. It's not about being a dual threat. It's about being able to extend plays. And when you extend plays, can you still remain a passer? The ball always moves faster than the person. And so, what Geno can do is he can operate in the pocket efficiently, get the ball out of his hand. That's another thing. Like sometimes these quarterbacks hold the ball way too long. There's no reason for that. Get the ball out of your hand because you don't want to take unnecessary hits. Your linemen want to have confidence that they're blocking well. It's hard to sit there and hold back these dudes for 4 or 5 seconds. That's impossible. So, being able to operate in the pocket, and then when things break down, extend the play to make something happen, make something positive happen, lead your team, do all the little things, serve them, be a servant leader, all those different things.
What about turnovers? One thing that he said, we had him on the podcast shortly after he was traded here. He said the one thing that I really want to cut down on coming here is the turnovers, leading the league in interceptions last year, because you mentioned your completion percentage throughout your career and joked that, and I don't know if you were joking. You said, hey, maybe if I play today, I'm at 80%. But the one thing Geno has done throughout his career is his completion percentage is always up there. And the other thing that I talked to Quincy Enunwa about, his former teammate, is that he does throw with good timing. When the ball's supposed to be there, it will be there.
He does. He's got great arc and pace. Coach Lee and I call it arc and pace on the football. He has that. So with the turnover thing, I completely understand what he's talking about. And typically, anytime I would do a dive into my own study about turnovers, it's typically going to be decision making. And sometimes it's the decision that you choose not to make a throw.
Could you imagine if you had Chad as your high school coach, as Mike Doramo writes this? I mean, what a coach to get you started here.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just want to be a sponge and soak everything up. And, I do think it was interesting, the points that he was making about Geno and, specifically with the turnovers. I think that's the biggest concern after the last 2 years, 17 interceptions last year, 15 the year before that. That's starting to become a little bit of a problem for him. And if the Jets are to win some games this year, I know we like that he's going to take some shots down the field, but he's got to protect the football too. They can't really afford to give teams extra possessions.
No, you have to be better in the red zone. You have to win the turnover battle. Part of that is the defense as well. Like, the defense might give up yards, but can they force turnovers? Last year they had they didn't have a single interception. They had 2 fumble recoveries as the defense, and then 1 on special teams, so 3 total turnovers. I mean, it's starting from nowhere, but that's where they're at. I'm laughing at this comment from Curly. Does Chad keep his gun in the refrigerator? Your thoughts on Geno keeping his gun in the sink, Matt?
I'm not a gun owner, but I do know that is not safe gun stuff. I don't know what the terminology. I think you're supposed to keep that in a safe. I don't think in your kitchen sink or your garage sink is the place to do it.
All right, Asmaniacs, listen up for a second. No matter what you're watching, whether it's New York sports or any game you didn't plan on caring about, there's no better way to stay locked in than with PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made simple. You're just picking more or less on player projections. That's it. No complicated lineups, no nonsense. Just you versus the numbers. And here's why I love it. Even if it's a game you normally wouldn't care about, once you got a lineup going, you're locked in. Every play matters, every drive matters, every at-bat matters. I've been mixing sports too. Maybe a little football, throwing some baseball, maybe some basketball, and now you've got action across the board all night, and PrizePicks makes it even better with features like early cash outs if your picks are hitting, the ability to mix multiple sports in one lineup, and you can even see what other people are playing and tail their picks. So if you haven't tried it yet, what are you doing? Download the PrizePicks app right now. Use code HMA. That's HMA, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, it's HMA on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. Since we're just going down the line talking about Jets quarterbacks of the past, here's a clip of Sam Darnold, a guest on Bussin' with the Boys, talking about the Jets. And if you have tissues, you're going to need them, because this brought tears to my eyes.
Obviously, for Sheed, looking back, he's probably like, dang, I'm so happy I went to Seattle. But like,
yeah,
I think the dream as a player is like you want to stay with the same franchise for your whole career. Maybe not, but at least that's what I was kind of thinking. Was I can, dude. Like, even if we were trash in New York, like I wanted to go and make it right. Like I wanted to go, win Super Bowls in New York with the Jets. And like, obviously that didn't happen. It wasn't in the stars for me, but like, that's what I wanted. That was the dream. And so I think there's a little bit of that. Maybe that's just me though. I don't know.
What the Jets did to Sam Darnold will forever be criminal. Thank you, Adam Gase. Thank you, Joe Douglas. Thank you, Christopher Johnson.
Yeah, I was going to say I loved your tweet on the subject last night, which was essentially just that. The fact that they hired Adam Gase after Sam Darnold's rookie season, that was unfortunately the beginning of the end. And look, I'm going to be honest with you, after the 2020 season, I was okay with the idea of the Jets moving on from Sam because they had the number 2 pick, and there were still major question marks about Sam Darnold. And good for him. He's turned it around, obviously. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but my God, them landing on Adam Gase is truly, truly remarkable after that 2018 season.
And that's really what it is, right? Because I understood why they had to move on from Sam. I understood it. New regime, second pick in the draft. The problem was they were in a spot where they were that bad in the first place. And like, it just like, I think Sam needed to go somewhere else and get the proper coaching eventually. And San Fran with Shanahan, and then O'Connell in Minnesota, then obviously with Kubiak in Seattle, he wins the Super Bowl. But it's just such a disgrace that the Jets actually picked the right quarterback, a likable dude. Everyone loves him. Everyone saw the talent, and they didn't give him a chance. And that's why I at least have some hope this next go around with Muji that they have built the right infrastructure for wherever the quarterback might be. And look, sometimes you could pick the quarterback and he could just suck like Zach Wilson, but they actually picked the right guy in Sam Darnold. They identified the guy they wanted, traded up for him, got some luck that he was there at 3. And like they drafted a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he wanted to be a Jet and he wanted to turn it around, and they gave him the worst situation imaginable. He had no chance. It didn't matter who it was.
Yeah, the offensive line is significantly better going into next year than what Sam Darnold was dealing with any of the 3 years that he was here. As much as I liked Robbie Anderson, the Jets' weapons are significantly better than what Sam Darnold was dealing with in the 3 years that he was here. So that excuse is kind of coming out of the equation. We can't really go into whoever the next young quarterback is. Oh, well, the line stinks, you got to protect him, or the weapons, who's he throwing to, or they don't have a running back. I kind of like that they're taking that element out of the equation, and just got to get it right once, man.
It really is just infuriating that they drafted Sam Darnold. He wins the Super Bowl, and he's so likable. No one can hate Sam.
He's never said a bad thing. He has every right to absolutely crush and dunk on this Jets organization, and
he'll never do it.
And he will not say a bad word about this team. It really sucks.
Yo, let's go to your calls right now. Nick T will be in the leadoff spot this morning. Hello, Nick.
What's up, Jake? Matt, how you guys doing?
Good. Hello, Nick.
You guys bring up some crazy memories to me with this Geno stuff.
So Thursday, Nick, we need content.
I hear you. So I'll give you an interesting perspective on it. So 2015, I was working for the Jets selling season tickets. And so his seasonal role came in. I remember, so Jake, you know this obviously about me. Matt, I'm not sure you know this. I'm in a wheelchair. So so when you go to the facility, you walk through, ironically, that first door, I call it the Jamal Adams door where we got locked out.
Yeah.
So you walk through that door. Anyway, point is I have to go through to get to the offices. Businesses and football operations are obviously separate. So they're on different floors. So I had to take the elevator up. So I always had to walk through the players' cafeteria. And what was always interesting to me is I always walked through the players' cafeteria, and Geno was always sitting by himself that year. So like everything that happened leading up to it, I wasn't too surprised when it happened. I remember the day it happened because I'm selling season tickets and we're having lunch, and we see the head of PR start sprinting down the lunchroom, and one of the girls sitting next to me says, "What's going on? Why is whatever his name is at the time? Why is he running?" We don't know. We get back to our desks, and the head of sales comes in the office. He goes, "Maybe you don't make some sales calls for a couple hours. Geno Smith just got knocked out." So it was a very interesting afternoon, nonetheless, trying to sell season tickets to Jet fans and trying to get the 401 on what was going down, being a fan, and also trying to sell tickets. But yeah, some bad memories. I was hoping that this time around, with 36-year-old Geno would learn some of his lessons, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this situation. I'm very concerned. But
wow. So how long did you go before you started calling Jet fans again to try and sell them tickets?
Listen, I'm a sales guy, right? Capitalism, that's fine. So I tried to spin it. Luckily, at the time, being as big a Jet fan as I was, I spun it that Bryce Petty, I think, was on the team, and I was kind of pitching Bryce Petty as the franchise quarterback at that point in time.
Wow, you were selling shit to us.
Hey, it was his rookie year. Bryce Petty, he had his moments that rookie year, at least in preseason.
Preseason, yeah. I mean, if only we knew Ryan Fitzpatrick would throw 31 touchdowns and break the Jet touchdown record.
Yeah, good times. Well, hopefully, we'll see, fellas. But yeah, I don't know where this is going. But I mean, we'll see. But just want to say hi again. Checking in, great stuff. Jake, hopefully I'll see you guys on the 11th.
Can't wait, Nick. Appreciate you calling in. Imagine being. I've said for years that one of the hardest jobs in sports is being the person that sells tickets for the Jets. I think you could throw the Brooklyn Nets ticket reps in there as well. That's super tough right now. But imagine being in the building like Nick was when you find out the starting quarterback got knocked out, and then you got to call fans and try and tell them to buy tickets for the team.
Yeah, good luck. Our starting quarterback just got his jaw broken in the locker room by a teammate. Go sell. God almighty. I couldn't. There's not any way that I would be able to do that job. So shout out Nick for being able to do that.
Good job by Nick. Open phone line.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.